More money, you got less problems. At least minor ones, all your basics accounted for. Team elite I run with, I'm guaranteed to be Final Four. Less money, you got more problems. More money, you got less problems.
Good evening, back, bringing Albany Community's knowledge. Thanks for staying engaged and tuned in with us. And tonight, I have Mr. Love himself, not Puff Daddy, not P. Diddy. I know he changed his name to that, but I have Lonnie Love Griffin, who's going to allow us to dive into his world and find out his love connection with the Albany community. So first things first, Lonnie, man, thank you very much. As I was just telling you, I know it was a long time coming for us to get together to make this happen, but thanks for extending me your time today, brother. I look forward to telling your story.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, brother. It's a pleasure.
Okay. Well, listen, man, I always start off unofficially. I like to ask, how have you and your family been surviving through COVID-19? We've officially been quarantined for over a year now. How has COVID-19 impacted you and your family? Has it affected you guys, or has it given you any creative ways to get closer to the family?
Absolutely. I can say, it's been some negative parts to it, but for the most part, we don't try to make the best of it. Our situation pretty much is pretty much stays status quo. My wife, she's an RN. Of course, I'm a correctional officer. You know what I mean? And I do nursing, and also I do some Lyft and Uber on the side. So most of those jobs has pretty much stayed in transition. The kids have had some changes, as far as schools, schooling goes. You know what I mean? My one daughter, she's going, every other day, and my youngest daughter, she goes every day. So just transitioning, just trying to pretty much to keep them busy. Pretty much as far as sports go, they were affected more with that. 'Cause my one daughter, she runs track and she does soccer and a little bit of that, so we had they basically canceled the indoor season. So she pretty much had a track, so she had to pick that up with the soccer, which the soccer continued. So we pretty much transitioned around it. Definitely got a little bit more family time, man. You know what I mean? With things being closed down, things got a little more, the family got to spend more time with each other, home time, you know what I mean? Bonding, building, so fun and games, sometimes they drive us crazy as kids, but at the same time, we enjoyed it, you know what I mean? I think that it turned into be a positive thing for the most part.
Okay. And shout out to you, man. I think you just listed off about 4 or 5 different jobs. Yeah. Hustle man at its finest. I definitely picked up Uber right before the pandemic had really hit, because we were doing the Dave Ramsey debt-free degree, and he kept university class. He kept saying you got to pick up side hustles. So I would do overtime at work, and I would do Uber, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
you meet a lot of different people from different walks of life, man, and it's been a pleasure just to be out in the general public, man, and just dealing with people every day and hearing their stories and what they're going through. And I get people in the car with me, and we break it, we chop it up, and I don't talk to a few people, been able to help people as they riding with me, you know what I mean? Just listening to their stories, and just being able to, help people, talk to people during this, this crazy time we're going through right now, just to be a positive, light for some people, you know what I mean? And it can be a positive light for me as well. I've learned things from people, so I'm a listener, you know what I mean? I've always believed that, you can never know too much. You got to be able to listen in order to grow, so.
Yes, sir. Hey, what they say, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Absolutely. That's a fact. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let me say, actually, I think in my first unofficial question, you already answered question 1. So I'm going to skip the question 2 for you, because actually that's my favorite question anywho. And it really gives me an opportunity to learn more about you, your love for Albany, and what the city means to you. So I'm going to kick it to you this way. What's your favorite place to visit in Albany, and why?
Well, my favorite place to visit in Albany is the Empire State Plaza. That's one place we grew up at. That was our pillar of our community. When we didn't have much to do, we would go to the Empire State Plaza. We would play, in Sand Park. We would go to the Thunder and Lightning Room, the movie theater. That was like a platform for us to go when we wanted to unwind, kind of stay out of trouble. You know what I mean? And just kind of go into our own world. You know what I mean? So we spent a lot of time up there. You know what I mean? And you know, it was very sentimental to us because that's where a lot of us hung out at. You know, that's where we went, you know, for peace. And we went there, you know, for serenity. You know what I mean? They had so much going on up there. You know what I mean? Kind of like we escaped the inner city by going there. You know what I mean? Because it was that, you know, we got peace when we went there. So we spent a lot of time there back in the day. You know what I mean? And it was great. It was something great to do for us, something good for us to do, and it kept us out of trouble. You know what I mean? And it was positive aspects to it because it was informational there. You know, it was educational. You know, so we learned a lot just being in that. You know, being in that environment. You know what I mean? So that's one of my that's one of the spots that, you know, brings back memories for me.
Okay, it's interesting that you say that because a couple of people have mentioned that spot as their favorite spot, and for whatever reason, I forgot to make the connection that, you know, we used to have like every year we used to have like a skip day, and we would skip school and we would go over. Well, we would leave school early, and everyone would go over there to the plaza, and we would all play like hide and seek over there. They had a little playground area.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was like, yo, so you couldn't touch the sand. So I know kids doing that. It's like you can't just allow.
I remember that one. I remember you had to stay on top of something. If you touched the sand, you was out. You got out or whatever. So yeah, I remember that one. That was a good one there.
Yeah, I forgot all about it. I don't know why I haven't made the connection because that's all in the same area. It's on the outside, but some of the stuff that you mentioned were on the inside. Because I remember we would always go down there. Sometimes we would get chased out of there.
Absolutely, we got kicked out a number of times because they had the chains pulled too. You just throw water inside this little thing, throw chains into this thing. A couple times, a couple people I was with decided to go in there and take some of the chains out, and security escorted us out of there a couple times. But it was a good time. It was all love. Nobody really got in any trouble. It was innocent fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was just that was our safe haven, man, because it was so much going on around us that, you know, and that was like the center. I always took that as a center. That's what divided, you know, uptown and downtown as well. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Once you cross a certain line, that's where you were at, you know, but people use that as their gateway to get from uptown and downtown. You know, you think about it, anytime we went uptown and downtown, where did we go? We cut through the Empire State Plaza, went straight across, you know, came with my Swan, afterwards we came out Orange, you know, went down those stairs, the back way over there. So, you know, at the end of the day, that was like the pillar, that was like the gateway to uptown and downtown, either you was going to Lincoln Park Pool, whether you was going to Morton Ave, you know, South End where we were at, you know, so that environment, that pillar over there, that was like one of our main, you know, that was somewhere we spent a lot of time at, you know, whether we was hanging out there, we were just walking through to get from point A to point B, on top of, you know, the different functions they had down there, you know, Black Fest, you know, different things that went on down there, the Black and Cultural Festival, whatever they call it now. But you know, we had a lot of good times down there, different concert venues, you know, ice skating ring. I mean, that was something outside of what we were used to, you know, growing up in the inner city. So that kind of broke things up for us and kind of put us, you know what I mean, out there around different people, different cultures, in the whole nine. You know what I mean? So I believe that helped us evolve, you know what I mean, into the people we are today, because you got to be able to move around with, you know, with everyone. You know, you can't just put yourself in a box. You know what I mean? You got to be, if you want to, you know, grow, you got to be able to move around and interact with everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and I like that too, though, because it's like think about how small Albany is. And a lot of people don't really get outside of their 4-block radius. They don't get outside of their comfort zone. A lot of people don't go to Troy, don't go to Schenectady, don't go to, you know what I mean? But like you said, the more you get out, the more you get to learn people, the more you get to learn about yourself, and the more you get to realize that it's a lot more in this smaller area that you can take advantage of that we're really not.
Absolutely. You know, it was, you know, that's one thing we did as kids. You know, we always look for other avenues, you know, to get out of the inner city, whether it was taking the bus to Thatcher Park to be able to go up there and swim. You know, we had, you know, whether it was Camp Opportunity, you know, different things we did, you know, to get out of the inner city, you know, and I think that really helped us mentally grow, you know what I mean? And to become, you know, to be able to think outside the box, you know, because like I said, a lot of times we put ourselves in a box and we think it's just about the inner city and we scared to, you know, step outside that box, you know what I mean? But when you step outside that box, I feel like that's when you start to grow. You can still give back and still be the person you are and have, you know, tremendous love for the inner city, but at the same time, you can grow, you know what I mean? And that's how I, you know, always felt about it. The inner city always going to be my first love, you know what I mean? And And that's, but that doesn't mean that I got to stay, around it and do what I do. I can always go back and help and, and do my part, and still, move up that ladder and do what I need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Facts. Let me see. Lonnie, here's a question for you. I can only imagine you're going to go deep on this one. Thinking of your younger self, what is something you wish that someone would have taught the younger Lonnie?
I was more focused more on education, because at the end of the day, I think when I came up, just graduating from high school was like a big deal. So, I wish that I would have had more emphasis focused on education, going to college, and just being able to, push that part of my life educational wise, because I felt like, I've always been a hard worker, but I think I shied away from school and things of that nature because I don't think that I was ever, I don't think it was ever pushed upon me to really push myself to go farther with it. You know what I mean? And my main thing was get out of school, work 2-3 jobs if I needed to. I wish that I would have went farther in my education, because that's one of the things that I lack, as far as being able to relate to my kids with, having, 3 daughters graduate from college, one going for a master's degree, and, and 2 with bachelor's degrees, and I wasn't able to relate to that. So that was one part of my life where I felt like, I lacked in, but at the same time, I was able to pick up from it and just say, well, look, I didn't do this, and that, but I want you to do what I didn't do. You know what I mean? So that haunts me sometimes, because I would have liked to go farther with my education, because there's so many great people coming out of Albany, you know what I mean, that's doing big things as far as, getting their bachelor's, master's, whatever they're doing with it. And when we were coming up, it was just to get out of high school was big, you know what I mean? Because so many people were dropping out, you know what I mean, and just not going. And so I felt like, I hit the lotto just graduating from high school, but I wish my mindset would have been more focused on college, and because I missed the college years. I would have loved to have been able to do my college years, and because that's an experience and a part of your life too, you know what I mean? So I salute the people that went out and continued their education, you know what I mean, to show us, to pave that way for me, even though I didn't do that. But people like yourself who went on and did what you did, and others, that inspired me, in a different way for me to say, look, I want to push my kids. I seen, I seen, you guys doing what you guys did, and I know it's possible coming from where we come from. You know what I mean? So I was still able to, put that forth to my kids, but I just wish that would have been a part of my agenda too. You know what I mean? Because I hear people talk about the great times they had in school and, different things, different experiences, and I can't relate to that because that wasn't a part of my life. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, I just, want to make sure that I encourage my kids, to move forward their life and enjoy the college life and things that come with that. You know what I mean?
Okay. And obviously you are doing it. I mean, you got one that got a master's, 2 with bachelor's. And like I said, I love looking at pictures and videos of you and the family, because y'all some hustlers. Like I said, man, everybody's out here. We gonna be fit. We gonna be working. We gonna be doing it. And it's more than one avenue to always get to the end. Right. So it's like, everybody's got different paths that you can follow or you can pursue. And mine is just like yours. To be honest, I remember I didn't want to go to school. If you were to see Georgie right now, you see my older brother, he'd be like, yo, Tyrell, remember when you told me that, college wasn't for you? And listen, in high school, that was exactly what I told him when it was time to graduate. I'm like, listen, man, this school thing ain't for everybody. But I'm thankful that I had the opportunity and I took the opportunity to go. But I was just happy staying alive and graduating high school.
Nah, I seen it. Like I said, man, you're one of my inspirations. One of my, one of the heroes that came out of Albany that, that put that work forth, you know what I mean, to try to, educate, help the community. And just to see you moving, I used to keep tabs on you from your brother when I didn't see you. So I would ask about, you used to doing your college thing, man. And it made me proud, man, because we come from the same we come from the same community, man. And when you winning, we all winning. You know what I mean? And that's how we all was brought up. There's no I and we. We all grow together, man. And that's one thing I would like for more people to be become a part of. You know what I mean? It ain't about me. I want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
I want to see all my people make it in life. I don't never want to come up without bringing my people up with me, man. I've never been selfish in that way. I want to see everybody win. If I'm getting something, I want to see everybody get. I want to see us all win, because we come from struggles. We come from hardships. We've been told we can't do it. We've been told we shut down to a certain level. But at the end of the day, we can do anything we want to do. You know what I mean? But we just need the good people around us, the positive influences to lead the way. You know what I'm saying? Encourage these younger kids and to encourage some of the adults that's happening. Some of these adults still haven't learned, coming in and out of jail and still doing the same thing they was doing in their second childhood. You know what I mean? So so it's a tough fight. It's a tough battle, man. But I believe that if we all stick together, you know what I mean, push forward, encourage, this younger generation, the ones coming up, that sky's the limit, and that they can do anything they want to do. I believe that's going to push the envelope for them to do what they need to do. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let me see. I know earlier you did mention one of the hats that you put on in regards to being a corrections officer. But last year in Albany was a rough year, even with some of the stuff that happened earlier this year. But that'll lead me to my next question. It says, sadly, Albany has experienced more and more violence in our communities, and we've lost a lot of people over the last, we've lost a lot of people, period. What changes would you like to see? What is your hope for the city, Lonnie?
Well, my hope for the city is pretty much that, we can come together, unify, educate one another, and kind of just, find some type of common ground to where we can get a dialect to where we can get people on the same page, man, and bring some type of unity to the community, you know what I mean, by having different programs put in place. I think that, we missing places like the Albany Boys and Girls Club, different community centers that we grew up with, those are things that really brought a tight-knit community to us, you know what I mean? We stayed together because we all, whether we was boxing at St. Joe's, whether there was certain things that Pop wanted football, down there, at Lincoln Park, there was certain things that connected uptown and downtown together, you know what I mean? That we came together, you know what I mean? We teamed up, and we thought we had issues with each other. Once we played together, got to meet each other, you know what I mean? That changed our trajectory. That changed the whole format of where we came from each other. So I believe that, there has to be a connection with the leaders also, you know what I mean? People like me, you, coming together, you know what I mean, to give these kids a direction, because right now, a lot of them are lost. I talk to them, and it's hard to talk to them, and even when they get locked up, the only time they really want to listen to you a little bit is when they behind bars, when ain't nobody here to put batteries in their back or tell them something. So, a lot of times I don't find me reaching out to them, it's sad to say, a lot of times they don't listen until, you know what I mean, they behind bars, and they'll sit down and listen to what you got to say, but, same individuals, when they whipping and running the streets, they don't want to hear nothing you got to say. Oh, you an old head. They ain't want to, we fighting an uphill battle right now, because a lot of these kids are lost now, you know what I mean? And I see them on a regular basis, coming in and out of here, you know what I mean? And when I see them in the street, they back doing the same thing. They believe it or not, they ducking when they see me in the street, because they already know. I'm like, what's up? You told me because they in the jail, they telling me one story, they're going to go do this, do that, but then when they hit the streets, it's the same thing. And I always tell them, people, places, and things. You go out here and you do the same thing, you hang with the same people, you're going to get the same results, you know what I mean? So I just think that, collectively, the community leaders got to come together for one. All the older individuals, people that's, whether you've been to jail, whether you can relate, because a lot of these kids want people that they can relate to too as well. So we need the individuals that done did the time in prison, the ones that's coming home on a positive note, they want to help the community, because those are the ones, they relate to people that done been through what they've been through, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So it's collectively going to take the community to come together. We're going to have to hold some meetings and pull these young kids in, involve them, definitely. They have to be involved in the process. We can't plan or do anything without having them a part of the process. It's like anything in life. If you hold in these meetings and you're doing something, you have to involve the kids that's out here in the street center, because they're at the forefront of this, and they want to be included. And that way, if they're being included, they can talk to certain individuals and get to certain individuals we might not be able to get to. So, it's collectively, even with law enforcement, we got to bring them, we got to get on a better page with them, because, at the end of the day, even working where I work at, I'm right in the middle of this, because I'm in the middle of trying to, on law enforcement we definitely can change this. You know what I mean? It's just going to take a collective effort from everyone. You know, this is a team effort. You know what I mean? This war can't be won. You know, we can't find victory until everybody come together as one. You know, this uptown, downtown thing got to stop. You know what I mean? We all from the same. We all cut from the same cloth for the most part. We all got family members that's connected somehow, and family members that can come in. You know what I mean? And try to bring, you know, that perspective to say, well, look, this is what it is, and we can help each other, you know, and bring us together in a positive manner so that we can kind of start to change things for the better. I think, you know, we'll be better off. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a lot of work to be done. Me, myself, working like I work, you know, I put it out there that I have to, you know, get more in tune with the inner city and get more in tune with my roots, because sometimes in life we get caught up trying to grow, trying to take care of our families. You know, it's unintentional, but at the end of the day, it's unexcusable. So at the end of the day, I got to make time. You know what I mean? Because Albany, the inner city, whether it's Tortoise, Connect, it's always going to be, because we all, like I said, we all come from basically the same backgrounds. So my love for the inner cities is going to be forever. You know what I mean? So, you know, my plans are to get out there and to do more to help these communities. You know what I mean? And to do all I can, you know. So my brothers, you know, they're in the school district, both of them, you know, and they're doing their part. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like I have to do my part. I believe everybody have to do their part. And when we come together, you know what I mean, as a whole, you know what I mean, and work together as a team, you know what I mean, and possibly get some of these young kids, you know, on board with us, I believe that's when a lot of this violence and a lot of these things will stop. You know what I mean? So I believe we can do it, though.
Yeah, it's a word, man. Synergy. The sum of the whole is greater than any of the individual parts. So when everybody comes together and does their small part, the larger will be able to come together and connect how it's supposed to. And the other thing is that, you know, I think that you are already setting the example just by showing that, you know, you can get out here and bust your ass and make something happen, regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of where we started. It's going to be where we end up.
Absolutely, you as well. I mean, so and that's my biggest pitch to a lot of them, because, like I said, that thing I told you about being able to relate to them, because they come into this jail a lot of the times, and at the end of the day, they tell me the officers don't understand where they come from or where they've been, and I'm gonna sit here and tell them, wherever you've been, 9 times 10, I don't been, bro. I lost my mother at 9 years old. You know what I mean? I never knew my father until I moved to Albany from North Carolina. We lived in the inner city. We lived on Morton Avenue, 2-bedroom apartment, roaches. You know what I mean? Struggles. We watched death. We you know, drugs. You name it. We had that around us. But we all got choices in life. We can either sit back and we can make excuses for it, or we can do something about it. Not to say that it's going to be an easy road, but at the end of the day, at some point, we got to want to change those negative things that don't hold us back. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's so many people still living for the past and pointing the fingers and blaming people. Of course, there's a million people. There's people we can blame, but that's not going to change. You know what I mean? Your situation. You have to get out there and change this. You have to be the change. You know, and you know so. So at the end of the day, the only way that's going to happen is you within yourself doing what you need to do to change that trajectory, so that you can, you know, make better for your family, or you know what I mean, and you know, just do something different on a positive note, so that, you know, you can instill that in your kids, and your kids can take that, you know, take that to the next level with their kids, and you know, bring about more positive, because we've seen enough to take us down. We've seen enough that we should be dead in jail at this point. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you know, to grow up when we come from where we come from, you know, that we don't lay judgment on anybody. We know, we want to give everybody a fair shake. You know, I believe that at the end of the day, people go through, and I'm constantly hearing this where I work at, and I'm constantly explaining to my coworkers, telling them that, look, at the end of the day, you got to look at people past and what they've been through before you start judging them. I said, a lot of these individuals never had a chance, and they never had a fighting chance. So at the end of the day, and a lot of them say, you know, Griff, you're right, you know, but they don't see that part. I've seen that part because I lived that part, so I know it. A lot of those individuals don't know it, so you got to really set them down and say, look, this person ain't out acting this way for no reason. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, you're a product of your environment. If you're coming up with no mothers and fathers, you know, we came up during the crack era. You know, half the parents were smoking crack and in the streets and everything. So a lot of the time we raised ourselves. You know, the people we knew, not our parents, but we had friends and family members, you know, that we was raising ourselves out here. You know what I mean? So it was tough for us. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of times we got tough love, and we got to kind of dial back on our kids, because we had it so hard that, you know what I mean, that we sometimes we too hard. You know what I mean? So. So you know how that goes when you come from struggle and hardships. You know what I mean? And it's just a tough road. You know what I mean? Just trying to find that balance. But I've always kept that mindset that at the end of the day, no matter what I've been through, I always want to be that helping hand to the next person, regardless of what they've been through. You know what I mean? And you just got to kind of have that understanding. You know what I mean? And I'm not here to I'm never here to put anybody down. I'm always here to listen. You know what I mean? And like I said, if I got to go to somebody's cell and they're going through it, and I'll sit there and listen to their whole story with them, man, and they'll cry to me and tell me, they've been through a lot in their life, they're such and such sick, and I'll sit there, man, and I'll go through the whole spiel with them, and I'll run into them out in the streets, and they'll stop. Oh, thank you very much, man. You sat there, you talked to me. When I came in, I was stressed out. Some people think because you come to jail, you're this bad person, you're a criminal, and this and that. And people go to jail for whatever reason, man. I'm not the judge or the jury. I know people go through things for certain reasons, certain positions put them in positions to do whatever they do for them to end up where they at, man. And I've never been the one to judge anybody, man. I know everybody got their stuff with them, and things happen in life, man. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I've always people come in and I talk to them, if I can help them, and tell them, look, try to get your life together. You don't want to make this about, especially the young ones coming in, because I don't see so many guys our age still coming in and out of here. It's just sick, you know what I mean? So these younger ones, I like to try to cut them off in the beginning. So look, you came here once, do something with this. You don't want to make this your life, because people come in and out of here every day forever. And they don't change it. They just still doing the same thing they was doing.
And that's it, though. That's it. It's like, some people get multiple opportunities. Some people only get one. I mean, some people make one bad mistake. Some people never made any bad mistake, just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. So it's really just like at the end of the day, it's like, as you said earlier, nothing is gonna be easy, but doesn't mean that it can't be done. And it's just like, with enough patience, endurance, and, everyone's got their own faith base. But with God, for me, you know what I mean? Absolutely. You can accomplish it in due time. And it may take you longer than other people, but that's fine, because we're not in competition. We're not in the race with anybody else. But we're just trying to get from where we are to where we want to be and be healthy when we get there.
Absolutely. That's a fact. And I always said my saying was slow and steady wins the race. Now I would look back, man, and I would go back and I would see even me working at McDonald's in Burkett, working, with Times Junior selling papers as we was 10, 11 years old, Georgie and everybody out there doing our thing or whatever, you know what I mean? George, everybody, we just, we doing, and we started from the bottom, and we had people coming up that was our age, and they was making money, had nice cars, and the women and everything else, and here I am working at McDonald's flipping burgers, and and I had people going to jail, getting out, but I'm still plugging along, and they come back out. They might jump ahead of me. They got the cars and nice clothes, and I'm plugging along. But my father told me a long time ago. He said, "Slow and steady wins the race." He said, "Just keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna get there. You're gonna keep everything you got." And those same individuals that's doing whatever they do in the streets, they're gonna get out, go back, get out, go, and you're gonna just keep getting what you got. You're gonna keep building, and and it rang true. I mean, that slow pace got me where I'm at today, but I'm humble because at the end of the day, I worked hard to get here. You know what I mean? And I didn't ask nobody for much. I just kind of plugged along. You know what I mean? And it paid off at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And that's just my story to tell anybody that, you know what I mean? You can be anything you want to be in life, man. If you put your mind to it and you work hard, you can go where you want to go in life, man. And can't nobody stop you. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we weren't destined to be where we are today, man. Our chapter was written for us to be stuck, you know what I mean, and struggling, and you know what I mean, and begging and balling and doing whatever, or killing or shooting. You know what I mean? Yeah. This wasn't the plan put in place that was structured for us. So we have to make that path. We have to blaze that path and make our own path and kind of, take the bumps and bruises. We can't give 100%. We got to give 110%. Anything we do, we got to go above and beyond in order to be recognized for. You know what I mean? So. And that's going to be a part. And that's why I try to, educate a lot of these youth coming up that, that you got to give 110% because in order for us to be recognized, we got to go above and beyond. It's sad, but it's true. You know what I mean? We can't give the average. We got to go above and beyond in order for us to move forth and do whatever we got to do. You know what I mean? So, and, that's one of my push to get these kids, to get them motivated. You know what I mean? And kind of keep them in some type of, direction. You know what I mean? So,
Okay. I'm sitting here thinking of a story. It was a young guy I used to work with when I was doing model, and I know he ended up in the secure facility up there by the county or whatever. And Cook had plugged me in so I can go in and go visit him or whatever. And I just remember talking to the young man and was just like, one, I knew he didn't really want to be there. But two, it was just like, you know, what are you going to do when you get out? You know what I mean? A lot of times, I mean, even my own family and friends, you know, they'll tell you one thing while they're there, but it's like, what are you going to do when you get out? Because you got the world's pressures on you. Everyone's expecting you to be whatever your street mantra is, whatever your street name is. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to learn how to block that stuff out and realize, you know what I mean, where do you want to end up? And it's not going to be based upon what this person said, what this person didn't do. It's going to be based upon the choices that you made while you had the opportunity to make them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's a fact. I mean, and that's big right there, because a lot of times they don't have a plan coming out. You know, they think they're going to get out and it's going to be, you know, back to the same. But at the end of the day, like I said, I've always stressed to a lot of people, places, and things. You get out here doing the same thing you was doing. They got you in here. You're gonna be right back in here again. So, you know, what's your plan? You know, what you gonna do when you get out? You know, you want to. If it ain't college, trades, electricians, you know, plumbers. I said, there's a ton of things that you can get yourself involved with. You know what I mean? To move up that ladder, you know, put you in a different, you know, put you in a different spot in your life. But a lot of times they come out that transition because they go out here and they hang with the same people that help them go back in there. You know, and that's why my thing is people, places, and things. If you surround yourself around the same individual that allows you to help you go to jail, they're going to be still out there, and they're going to accept you right back in, and you'll probably be right back when you started at 9 times out of 10. So you'll be right back there. So, and that's what I mean. That's one of the things I want to see more brought even to the correctional facilities as far as programs put in place. You know what I mean? Release programs so where they can get out here, where it's going to help them get on their feet. You know, put them in jobs. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? To put them in that right direction so that they can want to do something. Because a lot of times they'll get out and tell me, well, I couldn't get a job. They wouldn't hire me or so forth because they're a felon. And they do run into those roadblocks. I mean, you got to just be honest. People do discriminate. At the end of the day, I say you got to keep pushing and kicking. You got to keep putting the applications and keep somebody going to give you a shot sooner or later. But I think a lot of times the first 2 or 3 dismissals, you know, from these jobs, they get discouraged, and they think their only option is to hit the streets again, or rob us, whatever they're gonna do. You know what I mean? So you know, that's what back to we fighting an uphill battle here, because a lot of these kids, the self-esteem is not even there. You know what I mean? So just give them that self-esteem for them to be able to come out here. You know what I mean? To want to do that. You know, they feel like they can do it. You know what I mean? Without being criticized or, you know, talked about, or, you know, oh, he got a felony, or he been arrested before, you know what I mean? Because, you know, this world we're living in, you know, unfortunately, it's an ugly world, man, at some points, you know what I mean? That's why, you know, faith, God, and all the other things play a part too, going to church, you know, things of that nature, because, you know, surrounding yourself around the right people, you know what I mean? It's going to encourage you to do positive things or push you to encourage you to, you know, put you in that right direction, you know what I mean?
Okay. Let me see. This one should touch on too. How did growing up in Albany prepare you for adulthood, Lonnie?
Well, growing up in Albany, it prepared me, you know, a lot. You know, just being around different people. You know what I mean? Just you know, just the whole trajectory of Albany. You know, just the people I hung around with. You know, like I said, you had whether it's athletes, whether it's, you know, people that you know that you in your classmates, people you grew up on the, you know, in your neighborhood, you know, just watching different things, just watching how everything evolved in the inner city. You know, just watching, you know, as far as like the block parties, you know, different things that brought the community together. You know, hardships, struggles. You know, just seeing so much going around you. You know what I mean? Albany was like the melting pot. It was so much greatness going on. There was negative going on. You know what I mean? It's positive. It was just so many different things going on that kind of prepared you prepared you for so much. And if you really took heed to it and grasped what was around you, you know, it was just so much you can get out of it, and so much you can take forth with you moving forth in your life. You know what I mean? I've always, like I said, I they used to call it a watcher. I would sit back and just watch things and just see how everything played out. You know what I mean? How people moved. And I mean, I didn't take my first drink till I was 23 years old. So even at parties, I would be the sober one just sitting back, and I would watch how people move. You know what I mean? There's so much you see when your mind is clear, man. You know what I mean? people miss a lot when their minds is clouded.
Yep.
I sat back and I would watch everything, man. And I learned a lot from just watching people, whether it was negative or positive. You know what I mean? I've always been that one to take the negative, take the good with the bad. You know what I mean? And turn the negative situation into a positive situation. So with the hardships and struggles, you know what I mean? With the violence, you know, with the good time, with the block parties, with the, you know, so with the good and bad, you know that evolved me to be into the person I am today, you know, because Albany, like I said, a lot of great things going on and all. Albany you just got to take the time to move around and find your greatness and what's going on with it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can stagnate yourself and stay, you know, where you feel your comfort zone is. You know what I mean? Some people, sometimes that comfort zone is not a good zone. You know what I mean? So, I mean, so, you know what I mean? This Albany been a huge pillar for me, a huge, you know, as far as mental growth, everything. It's so many great people living in Albany, so many, you know what I mean, inspirational people living in Albany, so many people that, you know, I learned from that had everything going for themselves and threw it away. And I said, look, I don't like how he did that. I like the way he moved, but he was moving a little too crazy. So I'm going to take some of the things he had, some of his good qualities, and take it with me. So, you know, you don't see, there don't been people that don't pave the way for us at a certain point, but decide to go off the track and throw their lives away. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you know some of the situations I'm talking about without me even bringing them up. So a lot of those situations I take, man, and I take those situations, I try to bring those in a positive direction. But Albany is great to me. I mean, like I said, man, all people see when they see on the news is the shootings and the bad things. But when you live in and you're in the middle of that, you know the people you grew up around, and you know the hearts of the people you grew up. Majority of the people in Albany are good people, man. They're good people. You got the OGs, you got the older people you can sit down and talk to. You know what I mean? They'll enlighten you. They'll put you on the things that happened before you was born. So it's so many great aspects of Albany that I just don't think they take advantage of. But Albany I learned a lot from just being in Albany, man. It's small Albany, but it's Albany to me, and it's so much that I learned, you know what I mean, that I wouldn't give up for the world, man, because I love Albany, I love the people, you know, I mean, I love the communities, you know what I mean? Like I said, you take the good with the bad with it, man, but majority of the people are great people, you know what I mean? Hard-working people that get up and go to work every day, but for some reason it gets overshadowed by the gun violence and violence in general, you know what I mean? But Albany, it's a lot of great people, man. Albany has a lot going for itself, man. If we get everything going in the direction we need to go into, we can be unstoppable, man. We got a lot of great minds, a lot of great people, you know what I mean? And, you know, we just got to collectively work together, man, to build this, get where we got to go.
You made me think about something too, though. One, where you were just saying how for all of those years, and even now, you know what I mean, you were a watcher, you know what I mean? That resonated with me because I feel like I was the same way, you know. Listen, I'm watching everything from the time that I was younger to still now. So, like you said, though, you can take the positives out of a situation and be like, you know what? I like this person for these things. I'm gonna take that from them, that from them, that from them. I don't like that, so I'm gonna leave that one up over there.
Absolutely.
And keep pulling in all of these positive things. Because one of the things I learned is that for a lot of us, is like we're creating the imagery of the male that we want to be. Because a lot of times we don't see it so much. You know what I mean? A lot of times we're creating it as we go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but to be able to be a watcher really does put you in a position to survive, because you're going to learn from the mistakes and failures of other people as well as the successes. And then the other thing was that, you know, I think I might have drunk 2 times when I was younger. One was during prom, and the other one was when I turned 21. And I always tell everybody, it was just like, yo, to be honest, it was being sober helped me through a lot of my situations, because I can only imagine what the decisions would have been, because, you know, some of them could have been life and death, really. So it's like, I could only imagine what the decisions would have been had I didn't have a sober mind. So it's like being able to, like, not saying that there's anything wrong with it. Everyone does do what you do. But at the same time, when you're in a place of developing yourself and trying to figure out or navigate how to get up out of something, sometimes it's hard to do it when you keep putting added mind blockers on you too.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? But when you said it, it resonated with me, because one, I'm a watcher now, and like I said, you know, don't listen to people's words, listen to people's actions. Look at what they're doing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Everybody got something. Yeah.
You can talk and do all you need to talk. When you're watching people's actions, they speak louder than anything, man. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I said, that's just been me since day one. My brothers, I would let them go out and have a good time. I would just drive the car, I would go to the party, just sit back and just watch everything. People would tell me to this day, who remember you? You should just lay in the cut watching everything. And you might even knew I was there. I was quiet as a mouse, you know what I mean? But I could see everything going on. So the minute something got ready to jump over, was with my brothers, anybody else, I was able to get ahead of it to stop it, you know what I mean? Because I knew I had the clear mind to come in and say, no, we ain't gonna do this, you know what I mean? So, and we need more people out here that's doing that, you know what I mean? Because there's too many people putting barriers in people's back or letting things happen that can be prevented, you know what I mean? So I've always, you know, wanted to be that, you know, be that person. That be that voice of reason, because we need that voice of reason sometimes. You know what I mean? You got to have somebody with a clear mind somewhere. You know what I mean? Everybody can't be shaking and baking and getting high and going. Who's going to be? What's the mind? What's the mindset going to shut it down? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I played that part for the most part, and you know, it was good. I was happy to play that position. You know what I mean? So, but
you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Because people used to think that I was high all the time. They would always think that I was high, I was drunk, right? And they'd be like, "Oh, Tyrell, I know you high, you drunk," and I'd be like, "I don't know what y'all looking at, but I don't smoke or I don't drink." But it'd be like, "Yo, I know you were high." Right. Actually, no. So, but you can be right there in the midst with everybody, huh? Yeah, you be right there in the midst with everybody, and sitting there, be like, "No." Sometimes I used to go out. I used to put I learned this from Tony Marshall too. So sometimes me and Tony would go up to Sneaky Pete's back in the days or whatever, and he would always put like a napkin over his drink, right? In my drink, it would be orange juice and cranberry juice because I wasn't drinking at the time. So it'd be like, you know, everybody be like, "Oh, you saucy." Actually, I'm good. I'm over here drinking juice.
Yeah, I get it. They used to call me the milkman back in your brother George, you know, because what you got milk in the bottle? It was always my parties, and I would never drink. I would just be hanging out, but I would still be having a good time, mingling. You know what I mean? And I still enjoyed myself. You know, I didn't need none of those elements to make me feel good and put me in that mood. You know what I mean? So, but it was just a good place to be in for me. You know what I mean? And you know, like I said, that right there really, you know, kept me in tune and kept me focused and kept me, you know, moving forward. You know what I mean? Okay.
Listen, man, I got a couple more questions for you, and I'm gonna let you go, Lonnie. Success is measured in many different ways. How do you measure success, and how do you stay motivated?
I would say success to me is, you know, just pretty much giving your all. You know what I mean? Working hard, going hard. You know what I mean? And if you're a family man, you got your kids, and doing whatever you need to do as far as, you know, doing the legal part of it, to do what you got to do to support your family. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that doesn't mean to me, you know, having a $100,000 job. To me, success is going out, working hard, giving your all. You know, supporting your family and doing your best, you know, putting your best foot forward to do everything you can, because some people they're not going to be as fortunate as others. You know what I mean? So, as we may be able to give more to our families than the average individual, but from where he started at and where he at now, if he's making progress, that's success to me. So at the end of the day, I salute the man that's going to McDonald's, the man that's moving up that food chain, whatever he's doing. To me, that's success. If he started at the bottom, he was doing nothing with his life, and he was running amok, and you know what I mean, wasn't taking care of his responsibilities, and now he's being a man and standing up and doing what he got to do. That's respect on my end. You don't have to be a millionaire. You ain't got to have a big house. To me, success is measured in the work you put into something. So if I see you out here going hard, you know what I mean, just to see a cat, you know, working now, tell me, yo, I got the job doing, and he happy, that's his success, because he's doing better than what he was doing before. So success is measured to me on different levels. You know, as we move, now we can move up that ladder as we go. But to me, certain people's success is different from other people's success. You know what I mean? So I like to keep an open mind on people, and I like to be able to salute people and appreciate people and show them love, even if it's the smallest foot of success for them. That's their success. Yep. It's bringing glory to them. It's bringing joy to them. It's bringing motivation to them. So I salute those individuals first and foremost a lot of times, because at the end of the day, those are the individuals that we probably thought they weren't going to do nothing with their lives. And for them to see them happy, to see them thriving, to see them taking them steps, whether they baby steps, to try to better their life, that's more rewarding to me than anything. So at the end of the day, as they push, you hope they keep pushing, you know, and for the ones that's like, you know, that's moving at there's different levels of success. You know, I salute them all. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you work hard and push yourself to that next level and you go all the way to the top, I'm extra happy for you. You know what I mean? So I just, bottom line is success to me is just seeing my people win, man. You know, I want to see my people win. You know, I want to see them, you know, prosper and grow in life, man. And I want to see everybody win. Bottom line, I don't want to just see me, you, and so I want to see everybody get on the same page, man, so that we can all grow, so that we can push this, you know what I mean? So we can, you know, so that we can encourage these younger generations coming up, so that we can just, as a whole, as Black people, period, you know what I mean, uplift our people, you know, not to say we're working with everybody, you know, I want to see everybody win, but I want to see my people win, you know, and do what we need to do, because at the end of the day, we have to work within ourselves before we can work with other people. Now, we have to work on ourselves first, now, you know what I mean? And once we get ourselves situated and we get lined up with what we need to do, then we can spread out, you know what I mean? And do bigger and better things, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, success to me, you know what I mean? Just getting up every day, man, working hard for my family, you know, continue to grow, you know what I mean? Continue just to be the man I am, you know, to be supportive, you know, to be, you know what I mean? To be an educator to certain people that need that guidance, to be that positive role model as much as I can. As if people do make mistakes, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna make a mistake. I don't make mistakes, and I might make another mistake. But as long as I keep God on my side, and you know what I mean, I keep pushing forward, I believe that, you know, I can make a change out here, man. You know what I mean? And that's my biggest thing. I want to see people win. I want to see people continue to grow and do what they need to do in life, man. You know what I mean? And that's just always been me and my mindset. You know what I mean? I want to see people win. You know what I mean? And we can get there. You know, and we can get there chip by chip. You know, stone by stone. You know what I mean? And get people where we need to get them at. Then I'm willing to do whatever we got to do. But you know, that's my take on success.
Okay. And I'm gonna be honest too. It's like one of the hardest things to do is like you said. Look, I can tell right now. You know, I can hear, I can feel the love that you have. Like, yo, I want everybody to win. You know what I mean? That's something I used to say to my wife when we first got together. I used to always tell her, like, yo, I want everybody to win. She'd be like, what do you mean by that? I'd be like, yo, I want your friends to win. I want your family to win. I want my friends to win. I want my family to win. But one of the toughest things to realize is that sometimes we can want it more for other people than they want it for themselves. And that's a tough thing to come to grips with. And it's just like, but that's part of the overall balance too, realizing that, you know, you can't create or you can't do something for somebody else. You still got to have a part of it that is triggered by you. You know what I mean? Saying, yo, this is what I want. But, you know what I mean? Sometimes we want it more for other people than they want for themselves. And I had to learn how to adjust to that and realize that it's not a failure on my end. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I still genuinely want it. I want you to be successful. I want you to have whatever you want. But sometimes people, everybody's measurement of success is different. You know,
right now you're right. I mean, they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. You know, so then all you can do is, you know, do your part to try to help. But at the end of the day, if they don't reciprocate that and do what they need to do, then the result's going to be what it's going to be. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, at the end of the day, we do have to work on ourselves and building ourselves and, you know, making sure we're good for our families, healthy for our families, and able to, you know what I mean, to do what we need to do, you know, for this life. You know what I mean? So, you know, at the end of the day, that's definitely true. I mean, you know, all we can do is do what we do. You know what I mean? The rest is up to the individuals to do what they got to do. If they don't reciprocate or do what they got to do, then they got to live with their choices and actions. You know what I mean? You know, my niece of mine, you know, Octavia, she said, basically, you know, I see you running a lot, helping people, doing so much, but sometimes you got to take time for yourself, Uncle. You know what I mean? They kind of, you know, because at the end of the day, you can run and run yourself in the ground, and when you down and out, where you going at that point? You know what I mean? So, and that's something that I had to kind of set back and think, because I feel like I'm always trying to help and please other people, and I neglect myself in the long run. You know what I mean? And so she said, you know, sometimes you got to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? You can help people out, but you got to take care of yourself as well. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm coming to grip with, that I have to take care of myself. You know, you know, you know, so that's what I take from that. You know what I mean?
Right. Shout out to the niece for bringing that back home. So shout out to Octavia for that. And that was something I learned through therapy, man. I learned through therapy that, you know, I'm a pleaser in some degrees, because part of it is that you want everybody to be happy. You want everybody to, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you got to realize boundaries in that, because if you don't take care of you, other people will take everything from you. And then when you ain't got nothing left anymore, then they still gonna complain about you. So
exactly. Now you're right. You're right. Now, and I learned that the hard way. That's a building process for me at this point. You know, I find myself, you know, getting my finances back in order, because I realized that you can't save everybody. You can't help everybody, because some people don't want to be saved. They want to be helped. So at the end of the day, all you can do is do your best. And at that point, you got to kind of step aside and kind of, you know, let them figure it out. You know what I mean? Because you know, at the end of the day, only person really gonna take care of you and your health is yourself. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of do your best. You know what I mean? To stay on your A game, so you can continue to do what you do to grow and prosper. You know what I mean? So you know, it's a learning lesson, you know, for me as well. You know what I mean? Just you know, just learning to, you know, put myself somewhere in this, you know, somewhere in this you know, in the line of what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? Because like I said, when you come from nothing and people don't help you and their things, you feel like not necessarily the people you helping, but other people, when you didn't have things, you feel like, you know, it's your duty to try to help everybody and save everybody at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And, you know, my wife the same way. She says, you know, you can't save everybody. You know what I mean? Now, you know, so she reminds me that all the time. She said, you know, you got a good heart, and some people take advantage of that. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you got to know your limits and what you can do, and, you know, and you know what I mean? And kind of... Yeah, so life is a learning lesson, man. You know, like I said, we do what we can do to help, you know, people, and, you know, at the same time, we got to build, you know, and continue to, you know, strengthen our families, you know what I mean, and, you know, make sure our home front is good as well, you know what I mean?
Facts. Let me see, man. I got 2 more questions for you. You done? What about your life's path are you most proud of?
My life's path, just the way I took, I mean, because I came up in an environment, you know, where a lot of things were going on that I could have got involved with. You know what I mean? I could have been locked up. You know, I could have, you know, been dead. I could have been in certain gangs and there's things of that nature. I've always blazed my own path. But anybody that know me know that, you know, regardless of what my background and where I come from, you know, I've never wanted to be this thug or this gangster, and I grew up in the heart of it all. I always knew my lane. So at the end of the day, I stayed in my lane and I did my own thing. I went to work on my own. I pretty much stayed by myself. And, you know, I did what I had to do. You know what I mean? And, you know, there were so many influences around me that could have pulled me in a negative direction. But my mindset was I wanted to do something positive. I wanted to show these young kids that you can, you know, so you can come up in a whole bunch of things going on around you, and you can still make positive things happen, man. And that was part of my plan, just growing up, just being a leader and not a follower. You know what I mean? So I'm proud of myself for just growing up in the mix of so much chaos, and I still was able to maintain myself, do positive things, help people, encourage people, and know that people couldn't pull me in a direction that I didn't want to go. Lonnie made his own decisions. You can come to me with a million things. We'll get rich scam or go to do this and do that, or we're going to go down to the city and pick up something. We're going to go make a no, not me. Y'all do what y'all. I'm gonna encourage y'all not to go. But if y'all gonna do what y'all do, I'm gonna be there. You ain't getting Lonnie. You ain't put me in no car, no drugs in the car. You ain't in my car smoking no weed. I got all type of rules. People know they automatically you got any drugs? It done been times, bro. It done been below 0 degrees out, and a cat don't stop and ask me for a ride when I was younger. And I said that cat got drugs in that car. Nah, I'm gonna walk, my man. I'm all set. I'm walking my 10 blocks. I said, nah, I ain't getting in that car. Just a voice of reasoning, man. I've always went with my gut feeling, put it like that, man. When I knew something wasn't right, I wasn't gonna jump on board and know that I'm gonna bury myself. I wasn't gonna be nobody's fall guy, and that's my biggest thing to people today when I talk to them. They got too many fall guys. The guys that's out here ripping and running, they got people falling up for them, and they still in the streets. Man, it's a dirty game out here, you know. So I wasn't gonna be anybody's fall guy. You ain't gonna get me to do things that I wasn't gonna do. You know, I walked my own path. You know what I mean? It was a lonely path at times. You know what I mean? Being by myself a lot of times because I didn't want to follow certain crowds, and I got love for all these individuals. But they did what they did, and I did what I did. I didn't knock them. If you chose to hit the streets, you chose to do what you did. That's what you do. But I'm not going to do any of that because that's not me. And not to say I came up perfect, but I just knew that I didn't want to go to jail. I didn't want to be jammed up in no nonsense. You know what I mean? And I wanted to be a leader. So, you know, I'm most proud of the way I moved, man, because like I said, when the peer pressure was on, I was able to hold it together, man. They called me the can man for years, brother. I had my car with bottles and cans in it, people cracking on me, calling me the can man. And so I took a lot of criticism, a lot of things I did, man. But in certain ways it hurt me, but at the same time, it made me a better person. You know what I mean? So because I stayed the course. Nobody was able to knock me off my course. I mean, so that's what I'm most proud. I'm most proud of myself of. I've been a leader and I stayed a leader. You know, it was a learning process. It's learning from great people and seeing what other people are doing that I kind of developed myself. But I knew that I wanted to kind of do things different. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be that yes man. You know what I mean? I wanted to be somebody to say, well, look, I'm going to do what I need to do to survive. I ain't got to follow behind it. You're not going to peer pressure me into doing certain things. So just for me being able to stay the course and be the leader that I know I can be, you know, that's one of my most precious moments for me. You know what I mean? Because anybody that know me know that I stayed in my lane, and you know I kind of did it my way. You know what I mean? Okay. So you know, and that's one of my biggest accomplishments. You know what I mean? So. And that's what I encourage. My encouragement to people is leadership. You got to be a leader, not a follower. And if you're a leader, you'll go a long way in life, man. You got to be a leader. And I tell my kids that all the time. You got to be a leader and stay humble. And your life can go. You know, there's unlimited on what you can do in life, man. You know what I mean? So that's what I took away from that, brother.
Okay. How has traveling changed your worldviews?
Traveling, oh my God, tremendous. Just being on the move, just being in different countries, just being in that. I mean, we grew up in Albany, we stayed in Albany, so we knew it was Albany, we called it. You know what I mean? So to step outside those boundaries, to take my first trip to Florida, to take my first trip, just out of Albany, even in New York City. I mean, just to move around. But as I broadened my horizon and start moving around, as far as just within the states, and then going out of the countries and being around different people from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different cultures, seeing the way different people live, man. It opened me up tremendously to what the world was about, man, because I didn't know that, because I'd never been nowhere, never did nothing. So it gave me that bug, and it gave me that drive and that energy to want to move around and see more of the world, man. The world is huge, man. It's a lot to learn. It's educational. You know what I mean? It's informational. So me just taking those first few trips, you know what I mean? It opened me up to a whole new life, a whole new world, man, that I never knew existed. You know what I mean? So that made my motivation come back to work even harder. And that even pushed me on the work level to do even more what I was doing, because, I said, I want to go here the next time. I want to do this. So my motivation, you know what I mean? The reasons why I went even harder, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? To try to push myself to do different things so that I can go out and travel, meet new people. You know what I mean? The world is big and full of good people. It's a lot of things to see out there, man. And like I said, when I took my first trip, I was open, man. I'm like, wow, I'm over there. I'm in the Bahamas, Mexico, these places, man, that most people don't even travel out of Albany. You know what I mean? My grandmother, grandfather that I grew up with, they never left North Carolina, so they never went nowhere. So, I had it in my mind a long time ago that I was never going to stagnate myself. I wanted to see the world. And at first, I said I never was going to fly. And my wife pulled me on a plane. It's amazing what a woman will do to you, boy.
It's amazing what a woman will do to you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I hopped on that plane. I said, I ain't never flying. I'm driving everywhere. I got on that plane, man. It ain't stopped flying ever since, bro. Right. Here it is, 18, 19, 20 years later, I'm flying, and you know what I mean? And it's the best transportation, that you can take at this point. To get up in the wheels down, a couple hours, you ain't tired behind the wheel, And so I'll take flying over anything at this point. So yeah, traveling the world, that's brought great things to me, man. Just to be able to see the world, meet different people, man. To mingle with different people, you know what I mean? And just be outside your comfort zone, you know what I mean? Being around just to be in a different environment, you know what I mean? It was good. So God's been good to me, man. I've been blessed, to move around and to be able to see the world, you know what I mean? See the different countries and see the different states in the United States, you know what I mean? It's been good, man.
Okay. Well, listen, man, here's my final question for you for tonight, and then I'm going to let you go. One, I always like to ask this because it helps me to see like what's motivating you. But are there any resources like apps or podcasts or books that you're reading or watching or listening to right now that you would like to share with the Black community?
Right now, to be honest with you, brother, I'm so busy running with my daughters and with sports and, you know, between the working and all that, I really haven't found time to really, you know, get involved with any of that right now. But it's been at the top of my list to try to, you know, get through more reading, podcasts, and things of that nature. That's a part of my to-do list at this point. That's a part of me slowing my schedule down and being able to, you know, be able to indulge in other things other than what I got going on. But my schedule has been so rigorous that I don't find it, you know, to be honest with you, I don't find it hard for me really to be able to get into something, stay in. So I don't want to dig into it and not be into it. I want to be able to get into something, you know what I mean, focus on it and be able to get what I'm supposed to get out of it. So, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to find that spot in my life where I can do that, you know, and I'm finding it coming as I get older and as I put myself in a better position where I can, you know, slow things down on certain levels, you know what I mean, where I can, you know, focus on those things. But it's coming. I can tell you that for a fact. So, you know, everything with me is on the
I'm going back. I'm going back to the niece. I'm going back to Octavia. You know what I mean? One, like I said, man, we got to make that time for us. Like one of the things I'm being more conscious of right now is even putting my phone down. Because sometimes, you know, watching the apps and being on Facebook or Instagram or watching the stock market, that shit can be addictive. And it'd be like, yo, so now I go put my phone, I try my hardest to put my phone in the guest room and leave it there and just get back here with the family. Or if I'm reading, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Is it's like, you know, because we all got time. The difference is what we choose to do with the time that's allotted to us. And I got to do a better job of utilizing the time.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's one thing that I've been working on as well. You know, my family time, you know, I've been definitely putting that in, you know what I mean, with the kids, video games, and just sitting down, talking with them, figuring out what's going on with them within their lives, and just, you know, just that part, with the, you know, with the reading and things of that nature. I definitely have to stop making excuses about it and make time for it. And that's what I got to start doing. So I'm on that now. I'm definitely that's going to be one of my first to-dos.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, man, Lonnie, man, thank you very much, brother. I ain't going to hold you up any longer because I called you Hustle Man earlier and I meant that. So thank you for affording the time to the Black community. I really do look forward to telling your story. It's one that I resonate with on so many different levels, from being a watcher to not being a drinker to just being a hustler. And then your story of the tortoise and the hare, you know what I mean, was a story that I really, really understood the older that I got. And it makes a lot more sense. It's something you don't get when you're younger. Everyone's going to go for the hare all of the time. You know what I mean? But the longer you live, the more patient you are, the more humble you are, you'll realize that it's better to be the tortoise. So shout out to you, brother, on all your accomplishments.
All love, brothers. It's a pleasure, you know, coming on your CAT podcast, you know, just the interview, great, you know what I mean? I'm happy to see what you're doing with yourself, man. You're an inspiration, you know, to all. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep guarding your life the way you get your beautiful family. I see y'all moving around, man. Much respect, much love, man. And, you know, like I said, keep inspiring people, man. That's what we're here to do. I think that's God put us here to help inspire, you know, to help, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure, you know what I mean? And, you know, at the end of the day, we'll definitely link up and do what we do, brother.
All right, my boy, man. Well, thank you very much, man. I'll catch up with you later.
Absolutely. Peace, brother.
Peace.